What's up YouTube? It's Team Cowboy Gaming here, and I'm going to do a discussion on card of demise and whether it's ban worthy or not. I personally don't think it is, but we'll go through it anyway. I'm going to go through some points on why it should be banned and why it shouldn't, and then some arguments for and against. So, it's a +2 on activation in the correct decks, which is the decks that should be playing it, like what is it called? Cliff Forts and your Senjus, etc., and Counter Fairies, where you can just play everything or even put field spells down and all that kind of juicy goodness. +1s in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are quite already broken. Like Pot of Greed is definitely broken. People that say that card should come back, just no, it can't come back. So this is essentially can be considered a Pot of Greed. I don't consider it a Pot of Greed at all, but hey. Creates decks where the goal of the deck is to create a game state where your opponent can't play. That's not really valid in my opinion. It's definitely an argument, but I don't think it's 100% valid, because the demise, all it does is draw, but the floodgates actually win you the game. Like, all the engines that people play demise with, the decks that, the actual engines itself, like Cliff Forts and your Senjus and stuff, they suck. But it's more the floodgates that are winning the game, and that's not really Card of Demise's fault. Like, they could have drawn those floodgates without Card of Demise. It's just Card of Demise is for the engine. So overall, it's people are getting confused about Card of Demise flooding you out and floodgates flooding you out. And then the next thing that we have to say is Cliff Fort is cancer. I would tend to agree, because Cliff Fort is pretty cancerous. It's not the funnest deck to play against. I mean, they don't actually do anything but summon like an 1800 dude and then beat you down. But it's still a thing. I understand playing against lots of floodgates isn't fun, but then playing against OTK decks that just kill you on a turn or just stop you from playing through other means isn't really that fun either. And then they have people don't like set 5 pass formats or decks. I don't think that's an argument for this card getting banned, because if you don't know how to play through traps, that's your fault. I think traps should be a thing in the game, because that way it's not just I'm gonna do a wombo combo turn 1 and then see if you can out it, which Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of is right now, but at the same time there's still monarchs to counter that, and there's kaijus now. But enough about that. So set 5 pass formats actually aren't that bad. I wouldn't mind going and playing in an old format where there's traps and stuff, maybe Gear format or whatever. Just trap formats aren't bad, and people just are ignorant and don't like traps. And then Card of Demise is pretty broken and burn, I'm not gonna lie, but that's not really Demise's fault. There's ways to beat burn if you actually look into it. I understand burn a sleeper hit, but even if you're playing Draco Power, you just put Trapeze, Magician, and extra deck, please. Just do it. And you can side for demise decks, they're all the same. It's just decrees and lots of spell and trap destruction. That's all for why it should be banned. Now I'm going to go into why it shouldn't. Firstly, because the ban list is made to hit meta decks, not rogue and anti-meta decks. So, Demise doesn't see play in meta decks, and it sometimes sees play in Cosmos. But, Demise doesn't make Cosmos broken, Cosmo makes Cosmo broken. This is just another card they can play as a tech choice. Gives non-meta decks an opportunity to play. I've never wanted to... I saw the release of this card well, I got the card, and then I was like, what can I play this in? So I just had all these ideas for new decks that I could play, which is good because that has potential to, it gives these decks potential to beat these meta decks, which otherwise it wouldn't have a chance. Like I was playing Black Garden on DN, and like Card of Demise made that like slightly good. I'm not saying it was like amazing because it wasn't, but it gives these like slower, older type decks just a chance to, just another like trump card to try and like, beat the meta decks. This is more of just an argument to that whole, like, it creates game states where your opponent can't play. Every deck does that. Like Monarchs do that with, well, the domain build especially, and then like the non-domain just puts up like Pleiades plus Ace of Stormforth, or like Cosmos can put up like Dark Lady plus like Infinity plus like a tag out dude to like summon into Dark Destroyer or whatever. And then another argument is why it shouldn't get banned is traps are bad, which I tend to agree with. I would rather be summoning a monster to do something than setting a trap to do something, because the monster is going to get more shit done, essentially. And I've already talked about how this fucking cancerous deck is shit. It's just the floodgates that kill you. So, yeah. Clifforts are just, the Clifforts aren't good. Demise is pretty good, yeah. But the floodgates is what's actually the problem. And lastly, Card of Demise creates diversity in the meta. Like, because of Card of Demise, there's been more like Clifforts, there's been more counter fairies. Like, you wouldn't be able to play counter fairies without Card of Demise. Or not until like they get more support or whatever. And like Satalanites even. So overall it creates diversity, which I think is good for the game right now. I understand it's already like a five deck format, but it still needs to be more diverse because all the decks do the same thing. None of them are really trap orientated decks. Like Burning Abyss has like the PK stuff to like play what is it? I don't know what the trap's called, but it's like the Fiendish Chain. Like, that's cool. I don't really care if you play Fiendish Chain in 2016. And then Stormforce can be considered a trap, but not really. And then that's really all the trap decks. And it's not even trap decks, it's just traps in them. So overall, I don't think it's going to get banned because it's not impactful on the actual meta. It's impactful on anti-meta, which is good because it shouldn't just be meta decks playing for competition. There should always be like rogue deck options, whether they're budget options or they're just more fun options if you don't enjoy how the meta decks play. Like, I don't enjoy playing Monarchs or Cosmo or even Burning Abyss. Like, I like playing Magispectors and like just all these, like, I don't know how to define fun in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's different for each person, but I just find not playing meta more fun. So that's the video, guys. My next video will probably be on how to make a rogue deck competitive, which is quite hard, and I don't think a lot of people understand. So it involves this card, obviously, because this is like the best card for anti-meta decks. And so that's the video. Thanks for watching. Bye.